So just find yourself seated to begin. So make your way into a comfortable seat. And again, excuse my voice. I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit. So go ahead, find a comfortable seat. And you can always have your drink or whatever you're drinking close by. Just be careful not to knock it over. And today I want you to start off with a little bit of movement. So just roll out the neck. Start to shrug the shoulders. Close the eyes and just start to move however you want to. If you feel any areas where there's a little bit of cracking or popping, just linger there for a little bit. And as you move, I just want you to call in a nice deep breath. So I want you to start to allow the body to fill up with fresh air, and as you exhale, just let it all kind of flow out. And then just settle into center here, finding a little bit of stillness. You can bring your hands into your lap, or if you prefer to put them on your knees, that's fine as well. Settle into stillness here for one moment before we begin our practice. And just take notice of where the energy begins to settle in your body. Today I'm going to encourage you to take up a lot of space in your practice. So as we move through these slower, more gentle movements today, just allowing yourself to take up space, allowing yourself to explore a little bit, not staying attached to the idea that any of these poses have to look a certain way. And if you closed the eyes, go ahead and open them. On the inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, bring your hands to heart center through the third eye. So we're just going to do that a few times. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach. And exhale, hands to heart. So just continue to move like this to your own breath. And I really want you to think about sitting up straight and really, really reaching with the fingertips. So getting a nice stretch in the biceps and the shoulders. If you're anything like me, your shoulders might be popping and cracking a little bit. And really start to connect your movement with your breath. So 2 more here. And then next time you reach up towards the sky, pause here for a moment. Let your right hand come down, let your left arm reach up and over your head. So you can see right here, you can bring your forearm down to the ground, but just keep pressing your left hip down into the earth. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And then slowly begin to open that left shoulder up towards the ceiling. You can even wrap that left arm around the low spine, coming into a little bit of a gentle twist. If it's okay for your neck, you can look up at the ceiling. Beautiful. Go ahead, bring your left arm back up towards the ceiling if you wrapped it around the low back. And then on the inhale, come all the way up to center. Reach both arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, fold forward. Let your head hang. You can bring your forearms down to the ground. And just think about pressing your hips down into the earth. Go ahead, come all the way back up. Bring your hands behind you. And just gently switch the cross of your legs if your legs are crossed. So bring the other foot in front. On the inhale, reach up towards the sky. Again, nice big movement here. Take up a lot of space. On the exhale, let your left hand come down. Reach your right arm up and over your head. Again, you can walk that hand forward. If it's accessible to you, you can come down onto the forearm. But just keep reaching with those right fingertips. Think about pressing your right hip down into the earth. And then slowly start to open that right shoulder up towards the ceiling. And you can wrap that right arm around the low spine. Excuse my dog. Lena, go ahead, lay down. Lay down. And if it's accessible to you, you can look up at the ceiling. And go ahead, reach that right arm back up towards the sky if you wrapped it around the low spine. On the inhale, come all the way back up to center. And fold forward once again here. Walk your fingertips forward. And staying folded here, just start to roll out the neck. Really gentle here. And then switch directions with the circles. Nice. Go ahead, walk your hands forward, make your way into a tabletop position. Adjusting yourself on your mat as you need to. And if you have sensitive knees, I'm going to encourage you to put a blanket underneath your knees. And just go ahead, start to take some movement here. Take some gentle cat-cows. You can rock the hips from side to side. But come back to your breath. So as you inhale, come forward into your cow, lift the heart, lift the tailbone. And as you exhale, round the spine. Tuck your chin to your chest and just continue through some organic movements for a few more breaths here. Anything that feels good. And then go ahead, settle into your neutral tabletop here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna point your fingers back towards you. If you can't see me because of my dog, you're gonna point your fingers back towards you. Be really gentle with yourself here. If this is a little bit too much for you, you can just bring them out to the side. But plant the hands down, point the fingers towards you, and tuck the toes under. And we're just gonna flow back and forth. So you're gonna sink the hips towards the toes. You can lift the palms off the ground, that's okay. But you'll feel a nice stretch in the forearms and in the fingers. Again, if this is too much for you, just come out of it a little bit. But really think about sinking down onto your toes. And you can even rock back and forth onto your toes here. You'll feel an intense stretch in the forearms and in the balls of the feet. And then go ahead, come forward, up onto the palms. Take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale back onto the toes. Nice, inhale forward, and exhale back. One more time. Inhale, come forward. This time, replace your hands. Be really gentle here. Just bring your fingertips back to where you normally have them. And then go ahead, sink your hips onto your heels And start to walk your hands back towards your knees. So we're gonna sit back onto our toes here. I call this toes pose. I don't know if it actually has a name. And if it's okay for your feet, go ahead, walk your hands up onto your knees. So again, if this is too intense for your feet, you can always keep your hands down on the ground and keep some of the weight out of the feet. But if it's okay for you, then just come up onto your knees, and I just want you to make fists with your hands and roll out the wrists. And just take a few deep breaths here. This is a tricky one. I find that students really resist this foot stretch because they're not used to it, but it's really good for your feet. So just take a few breaths and just breathe through it a little bit. And then go ahead, walk your hands forward. You can untuck the toes and just, you can tap them out or whatever you want to do here. Nice. So from here, go ahead, step your right foot forward in between your hands, coming into a lunge. So from here, you can walk your foot out to the right a little bit, finding a nice wide base. On the inhale, reach up towards the sky, find your low lunge. So we're gonna be here for a little while, so make sure you find a nice sturdy low lunge. Think about pressing your right foot down into the earth and your left knee down into the earth, and start to feel the core engage. Remember to breathe here. Really nice. Beautiful. Start to notice how your arms feel, reaching them up towards the sky. See if you can pull your heart through the arms. So see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together. See if you can get your biceps to be right next to your ears. Take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, bring your hands to heart center. We're gonna twist over to the right. So you're gonna hook the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So you're still squeezing the foot down into the ground. You're still pressing the top of the left foot down into the earth. But now your left elbow's on the outside of your right knee. Maybe you look up towards the sky to test your balance a little bit here. The inhale, grow a little bit longer, get nice and long in the spine, and as you exhale, see if you can twist a little bit deeper. If you want to go even further, you can open up the arms. Reach the right arm up towards the sky, left arm down towards the ground. You're doing great. One more breath here. On the exhale, go ahead, plant the hands, frame that right foot. Walk the right foot back to center here. And go ahead, start to straighten that right leg. So we're gonna come into our half splits. So maybe you stay right here, the leg doesn't have to be perfectly straight, and just fold over the leg. For a little bit more, you can scoot the right heel forward, straighten that right leg, and fold. But just find what works for you. And once you get there, I want you to just settle in, take a few deep breaths. Come back to your breath here. You'll feel a really intense stretch in the hamstrings, so just make sure you're being gentle with yourself. And go ahead and start to come back up onto your hands if you fold it over the leg. And you can stay right here, or you can bring both hands to the right side of the leg, and you'll feel a little bit of an IT band stretch. So be really gentle. If this is too much for you, then just come back to your half splits. You're gonna bring your hands to the right side of the foot. You're gonna keep flexing the toes towards you and just fold over the leg. Again, feeling a stretch in the IT band. Take 3 deep breaths wherever you are. Go ahead, walk your hands back to center. Begin to bend back into that right knee, being really gentle with yourself here. And when you're ready, plant the hands and just step back into your table and just shake it out. Sway the hips from side to side. Take a cat-cow, whatever feels good. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead, step the left foot forward this time in between the hands. Find your low lunge. And when you're ready, press into the left foot, reach up towards the sky, finding your fullest expression of the low lunge. And reach your fingertips up towards the sky. Again, think about engaging the core. You don't want to slump into this low lunge. Your core is engaged, your legs are engaged, arms are reaching up towards the sky. Really nice. Take a few deep breaths here. And notice the sensations in the arms. I know the arms start to get tired here. And go ahead, bring your hands to heart center. Prepare to twist over to the left. Take an inhale. As you exhale, hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Bringing your hands to heart center, and maybe you look up at the sky. You want to think about squeezing the shoulder blades together here. Beautiful, you're doing great. Remember to breathe. And on your next inhale, go ahead and come back to center. Bringing your hands down to the mat, walk your foot to the center of the mat here. And go ahead, find your half splits. Again, you can scoot that left heel forward, softening the knee. And then just go ahead and fold, and when you find your edge here, just pause and take a few deep breaths. Wherever you are, think about drawing your heart towards your foot. So it's not about rounding through the spine and touching your nose with your knee. Think about folding from the heart towards the foot. You might fold a little bit less, but you'll feel it more in the hamstring. Take 2 more breaths here. And go ahead, start to walk your hands over towards the left side of the left foot. Again, if this is too much for you, just stay in your half splits. When you're ready, fold a teeny bit over that leg. Take 3 deep breaths. And slowly start to come back to center. When you're ready, bend back into that left knee. Nice and gentle here. Step back into your table and find a child's pose. You want to take a sip of coffee before you find your child's pose? Go ahead. Bring the big toes to touch. Again, your knees can still be on your blanket. Just fold forward. So we're going to do a couple couple variations of child's pose today. So if you find that your hips are really tight and child's pose is a lot for you, you can slide a blanket on top of your feet to kind of elevate the hips, or a block or a book or any kind of prop. You're gonna walk your hands out forward, let your heart melt down towards the ground, and then plant the elbows. Bring your hands to prayer and just start to melt the forehead down towards the ground, and you're gonna bring the thumbs to the back of the neck. So you might need to wiggle around here, find what works for you, but ultimately you wanna get a nice shoulder opening. And if you don't feel like you're feeling it, press your elbows down into the ground. And then go ahead, straighten out the arms here. We're just gonna take a short modification of threading the needle. So go ahead and thread the left arm underneath the right armpit here. Walk the right fingertips out, and you can rest the left cheek on the ground. Just make sure you're breathing here. Nice deep breaths. And then go ahead and replace that left hand and thread the right arm underneath the left. And go ahead, replace that right arm, press up into your table, and we're gonna take one downward facing dog today. So tuck your toes, lift the hips, find your downward dog. I want you to just take some movement here. And I want you to really notice how your body's feeling. You can always bend the knees. We haven't done any downward dogs yet, so your hamstrings might still be a little tight. But just wiggle around, really shake the hips from side to side, shake the head. And go ahead, settle in here. Bend the knees and think about pressing the heels down towards the ground. Press your heart towards your feet. Lift the hips. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. On an inhale, roll forward to plank. We're gonna take a little bit of core work here before we find our way onto our back. So you're gonna roll over onto the left side of your left foot, reach your right arm up towards the sky for a little side plank. For a little bit less, you can drop the left knee down and take a modified side plank. But you really wanna think about engaging the core here. Lift the core up towards the sky. Lift the hips up towards the sky. You won't be here for too long, just make sure you're breathing. And then go ahead, come all the way back into your plank and just find the same thing on the other side. So roll over onto the right, reach the left arm up towards the sky. You can always drop the right knee down. You're breathing here. One more breath. And slowly lower. Come down to the knees. And just roll yourself down onto your back. So find your blanket. If you don't already have it, your rolled up blanket. You're just gonna place it right underneath the shoulder blades before coming all the way down onto your back. Take a little bit of time to set yourself up. You're gonna bring it right underneath the shoulder blades. And from here, just reach your arms up and over your head. You can keep the knees bent. Let the knees fall in towards each other. Just take a moment here. Take a few deep breaths. And go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. So be really careful not to knock anything over. You can keep your arms where they are and just let your legs fall over towards the left. So finding a supine twist, or if there's a different twist that you like. But you want to remain really open in the chest, so your arms can be out to a T or the arms can be up over your head, but make this a priority and don't worry about how far the knees fall. And see if you can just settle and enjoy this twist. Letting whatever comes up for you, come up for you. And then go ahead, bring the knees back to center. Let them fall over to the other side. Bring your knees back to center here. Just gonna take one last pose before we take a Shavasana. Go ahead and grab your big toes, but be really gentle with yourself because you have a blanket underneath your back. So you might want to straighten the legs a little bit more than you normally would in Happy Baby. Just rock from side to side, or you can pull the feet in. Just be cognizant of your back here. Notice the opening in the hips. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. If you want to find Supta Baddha Konasana legs, let the knees fall apart. Or if you just want to find a normal Shavasana, you can sprawl out, spread out, whatever feels good. We'll be here for about 2 or 3 minutes, so make yourself comfortable. And just start to release, let go. And slowly begin to take some deeper breaths. If your knees are out to the side, bring your hands to the outside of the legs and just pull the knees in towards each other. And start to move a little bit. Rock the hips from side to side. You can shake out the head. When you're ready, just slowly start to come up to sit. Being really gentle with yourself. And just kind of make circles over the hips with the torso. So thank you for joining me this morning, allowing me to guide your practice. As promised, I'm going to offer some journaling for today. I'm going to offer a little bit of releasing. So if you have a little bit of time to write today, maybe write down some of the things that you want to let go of. Things in your life that just don't feel good, don't feel right, and you don't have to take action on any of these things. This isn't about putting pressure on yourself. It's just about reflecting on what in your life you can maybe let go of. We are at the beginning of the month here, and it's a full moon, so this is a really good time to think about what we can release. So that's what I'm going to offer to you guys this morning, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week.